friends and family. I am outside camping. I'm on a work trip, and there's just kind of a pause today. I tried to find my site, but there was like a gate. Like some of these places are just in the deep woods, like dirt roads, like service roads and stuff like that. And so this particular road, it like split off, and my GPS was like went blank, and yeah, so I had to turn back because I was like, I don't want to get even more lost, like trying to, navigate other roads. So I just gave up. So I'm here doing a video. Um, so today I wanted to talk about. So I was watching the show. I have an addiction to dating shows, and I'm intrigued by the social experiment, and I think we're just constantly fed this whole romance and romantic love concept. So you know seeing how people just take the plunge and join these dating shows is quite intriguing to me. This particular one I was watching, called Temptation Island, um it was just a really bad season, but I really like the host. I forget, his name is like Mark, so I don't know, he looks a lot like the host of The Bachelor, which is such a shitty show, and so is Temptation Island. But the host of Temptation Island, like, I don't know if he's a therapist or what, but he has such a fatherly energy, and just so, like, it seems like he genuinely cares about the people who join the cast and stuff like that. And he really holds them to task about their shit, so it's very, you can get a lot of insight watching it because of his input in the show. So I really like that aspect. Other than that, like, it's pretty trashy. And I almost gave up on watching it, and I'm glad I continued, because this one particular character, he brought his fiance there. So Temptation Island, in case you haven't seen it, the concept is couples who are kind of on the brink of, like, do we break up, or do we, get therapy and keep going? Like, how do we decide how we're going to continue this relationship? And so they will go to the island. There's a lot of contestants that are there that the people can date as opposed to their partner, to kind of test out the strength of their connection and to see if there's something better out there. Just basically test their relationship and see, like, maybe something's missing, like, I don't know. So it's just like a relationship test, basically. And so basically we get to the end of the season, and the couples are breaking up, and there's this one particular character who's just, he's a nice guy, and he's this guy from the South, and he talks in a really charming accent, and just, I'm a nice guy, and I'm just doing my best, I'm doing whatever I can. He just talks in this really nice, suggestive voice, and just like he wants to cuddle you and kiss you and give you all the love, like that bullshit. Like, and this is no hate on Southerners. Like, I love a good Southern accent, but it's like he's like, like laying it on thick almost. It's just like, okay, we get it. You're from the South. And so he brought his girlfriend, and she, or fiance. So the history with them is that he had broke up with her in the past. So they were together for a long time, and then he broke up with her, and then he got back together with her. So she had, like, healed her heart, moved on, everything, and then he, like, tried to get back with her again. And so she got back with him, and then he brought her to the island, and then he ended up meeting some woman and exclaiming that he never felt like this ever before, and that, he made a huge mistake by getting engaged with the woman he brought there, and how he just never felt this love before. And it was just all of these things that he was saying. And mind you, the woman who he met on the island, you know, no shade, but she had huge titties, like very, you know, vixen body, you know, she's gorgeous, absolutely stunning, but also like sexually alluring, you know. And to top it off, she was being very, you know, racy in the evening hours on the island. So she was, you know, there was definitely some ideation of what she would offer behind closed doors through her, you know, behavior. And it's no shade, you know, do you F whoever you want. I'm definitely not against any of that stuff. But it was just funny. They were just painting the story that they were falling in love and that they were going to build a life together. And all the while he brought his fiance out there. And so I just kind of wanted to break that down a little bit, because when it came down to, you know, facing his, what is now his ex, you know, he was getting so defensive when they were trying to hold him accountable that, you know, why did you bring her back into your life if you weren't getting what you needed? And he's just like, well, I made a mistake. I know. I didn't know. I didn't know what I needed, but now I know what I need, and I have it right in front of me, and I'm not a bad guy. I don't know why you trying to make me out to be a bad guy. And like, he was just so hell bent on being painted like the stroke of the bad guy. And then what was worse was his new fucking chick was defending him and just had no sympathy for his ex whatsoever. No, like, compassion, like, oh, you know, maybe you should have, like, maybe we need to take our time, you know, considering you're just breaking up with somebody. Like, none of that shit. Like, they're just going balls to the wall, like, in the girl's face as if she did something wrong, like she fucked him over or something. And I was just like, wow, like, this guy is on some fucking bullshit. And then for him to say, I'm a nice guy, like, this is the nice guy trope, you know. They never say what the fuck they mean. They're always dancing around the fucking issue. They always think they're doing the right thing. So it's like it's a form of a people pleaser, I guess. And it is, you know, in a lot of ways he was manipulative and manipulating with the niceness, you know, which niceness is an act. Anybody can be nice. I've said this for a long time. Like, an axe murderer can be nice. You know, a serial killer can be nice. So what is the value of niceness if there's emptiness behind it, or if there's, you know, maliciousness or just selfishness, which was what that guy was. He's super selfish, you know. And it's just like, if he really cared about himself or cared about, you know, doing the right thing, he would have been like, you know what, this woman made me realize that I don't have everything that I need in my current situation, and maybe I need to take some time to myself. Like, yeah, maybe we'll communicate or start a friendship, you know, just slowly ease into it. It was such a, like, a dicky circumstance. And then for the woman to, like, stand behind him on that, it's just, you know, what we call these days the pick me bullshit, pick Misha, whatever you want to call it. You know, I feel like women need to stand together. It's like she didn't have to necessarily, like, not, like, stop seeing him, but she should have stood up for the other woman, in my opinion. It's just like, yo, like, I'm down to hang out with you from now on, but you need to sort your shit out. Oh my God, it's fucking moth. You need to sort your shit out before we can move forward, you know? And so she doesn't have the maturity to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because I was I was so triggered by it. I was just like, this motherfucker, like, these, you know, I've been with a person like that who's just like, oh, you know, I'm just a nice guy. Like, they hide behind it. I don't want to necessarily call it a narcissist, but I would say a covert abusive person. And they're a covert, they hide behind, again, their niceties and the fact that they don't yell, and they use nice language all the time. But what I did notice when when people were trying to hold this man accountable, he started getting like passive aggressive and throwing passive aggressive digs and stuff like that. I was like, oh, now he's showing who he really is. And that's that shit, you know, like when people don't own their shadow, it comes out in fucked up, twisted ways. You know, how he did his ex like that. Like, how are you going to do her like that? Bring her on a show, or maybe she brought him. I'm not sure how it went. I'm pretty sure he brought her. And then meet some other chick and run off into the sunset. You know, I guess it's a risk of the show, but how he went about it was just so shady. And then to not take any accountability, to try to dodge accountability, like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, you know, your life would go a lot better if you just owned it and sat with that feeling of guilt and then move the fuck on, you know. But no, he needs to stand on the fact that he's a good guy and that he didn't do anything wrong. And he had his little cheerleader girl backing him up. I don't think that relationship will last. I think it's just lust based. He's attracted to her sexually. She's dumb and young. Like, he's gonna regret all this shit once he watches it back. Like, you know, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong, but it's just not a good start. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, to talk about the importance of shadow work and owning the dark aspects of ourselves and not seeing them as bad. Like, that's what I noticed. Like, when people are afraid to own the dark parts of themselves, they're really have a lot of shame about this notion of being bad, because again, like, we see things as good and bad, and that whole what is it called, duality, you know. And it's just like this, it's just part of our humanness, you know. Like, and if we don't address these parts of ourselves and they come out in weird, sideways, fucked up ways, and then we don't own that shit, then when people call us out, we're like, oh, like, I don't know what you're talking about. We get all defensive and weird and shit. It's just like, yo, like, you're shady. And then they keep being shady and nice, but I'm nice, I'm cool. Like, why would you call me shady? Like, why would you say that about me? So yeah, do your shadow work and learn about yourself, learn about your darkness, because it's not as bad. It's not bad. It's just a part, you know, it's part of our wholeness. Like, in becoming whole, we have to own when we fuck up. Like, man, I feel like I'm risen from the darkness. I feel like I'm finally owning my light. Like, I'm on the other end of the thing. Like, and maybe, you know, yeah, I feel like there's dark aspects of myself that I've hidden from as well, but it's just so freeing to feel your feelings and be honest with ourselves. When we're honest with ourselves, like, it can be heavy. It's a lot to process, but I don't know, being honest with ourselves helps us be honest with the people in the world around us. So had that guy not been such a people pleaser, or thinking about, like, I have to do the right thing, he wouldn't have fucked over his long-term girlfriend, then fiance, you know, the way he did publicly. And he probably has family members and people around him that enable him and enable his bullshit. You know, maybe his family members are the same way, just like shy away, just shady, you know, what do they call it? You know, throw the rock, hide your hands kind of bullshit. Or just passive people, you know, whatever. Anyway, this is just a random thing I wanted to share. Another aspect of people pleasing, and, you know, a little aspect of the nice guy trope. Like, oh man, a fucking nice guy. I will choose an asshole over a nice guy any day. And no, not a genuinely nice guy, but like a self-proclaimed nice guy. Oh my goodness, I'm good. So Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this came out okay because I got my AirPods in. So yeah, deuces.